This is my PCQ where I'm going to discuss the 4 types of tissues: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. I'll also talk about the embryonic origin of tissues, starting with the zygote or fertilized egg. It's a single cell formed by the fusion of an egg and a sperm. The first embryonic cells generated have the ability to differentiate into any type of cell in the body, and these are called totipotions. So the epithelial tissue, it covers the surfaces exposed to the outside world: your skin, airways, digestive tract, urinary system, and reproductive system. It also forms glandular tissue. And your endothelium. This is your hollow organs and body cavities that do not connect to the exterior of the body, your blood vessels and serous membranes. The type of epithelial cells come from embryonic origin of the totipotent, and these can be ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. The ectoderm, your skin, mouth, nose, and anus. Ecto meaning outer. Endoderm meaning inner, your airways and digestive system. Mesoderm, your lymphatic system, cardiovascular system, and your vessels. Meso meaning middle. The generalized functions of epithelial tissue are a line of protection from physical, chemical, biological wear and tear. They're called the gatekeepers of the body. Many epithelial cells are capable of secretion and release mucus and specific chemical compounds onto their apical surfaces. Key features. The tissue is highly cellular with little or no extracellular material present between the cells. Epithelial tissues are nearly completely avascular, meaning no blood vessels cross the basement membrane to enter the tissue, and nutrients come by diffusion or absorption. Many epithelial tissues are capable of rapidly replacing the damaged and dead cells. It's a characteristic of surface epithelium, and it allows our airways and digestive tracts to rapidly replace damaged cells with new cells. The classification of epithelial tissues: squamous, these are flattened and thin. Cubital, these are boxy, as wide as they are tall. Or columnar, they're rectangular, taller than they are wide. They can be simple, meaning one cell; stratified, meaning more than one cell; pseudostratified, meaning a single layer of irregular shaped cells giving the appearance of multiple layers; or transitional. These are stratified and the shape of the cells can vary. The glandular epithelium, these are your endocrine glands and your exocrine glands. The goblet cell is a mucus-secreting unicellular gland. It's interspersed between the columnar epithelial cells of mucous membranes. So endocrine glands, it's a ductless gland that releases secretions directly into surrounding tissues. These are your hormones. Exocrine gland, whose secretions leave through a duct that opens directly or indirectly to the external environment. This is your mucus, sweat, saliva, breast milk. The type of exocrine glands: the merocrine secretion. This cell is reusable. The apocrine secretion, this cell, the top of it is pinched off and that portion becomes the secretion. The holocrine secretion, the entire cell dies and becomes the secretion product itself. Here's an image of an oil gland attached to a hair follicle. These are holocrine glands, and they're completely destroyed after releasing their contacts. Moving on to connective tissue. Connective tissue cells are dispersed in a matrix. The functions of connective tissues: they support and connect other tissues. They form the connective tissue sheath that surrounds muscle cells, to the tendons that attach muscles to bones, and the skeleton that supports the positions of the body. Their main functions are protection, defense, transport of fluid, nutrients, waste, and chemical messengers. This is ensured by specialized connective tissue fluid, such as blood and lymph. Adipose cells store surplus energy in the form of fat and contribute to the thermal insulation of the body. So classification of connective tissues, you have connective tissue proper, which includes loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, which each has 3 types. Supportive connective tissue is your cartilage, there's 3 types, and your bone. There's also fluid connective tissue, which is blood and lymph. The cell types, a fibroblast is the most abundant, fibrocytes, less active form of a fibroblast. Adipocytes, these are your fat cells that can be brown and white. Mesenchymal cell is a multipotent adult stem cell, and the macrophage cell is a large cell derived from a monocyte. The mast cell is found in connective tissue proper also. So fibroblasts, the main 3 types of fibers are secreted by fibroblasts. That's the collagen fibers, elastic and reticular fibers. The embryonic origin of connective tissue. All connective tissue is derived from a mesodermal layer. The first connective tissue to develop in the embryo is the mesenchyme. It's that adult stem cell line that all of the connective tissues are later derived from. And another embryonic type is mucous connective tissue, which it's not there after birth, it becomes dispersed into the body. So connective tissue proper, it has 2 types, loose connective tissue, which is your adipose tissue. Those are fat storage cells, your areolar tissue. This tissue fills the spaces between muscle fibers, surrounds blood and lymph vessels, and supports organs. Reticular tissue, it's a mesh-like supportive framework for soft organs, such as lymphatic tissue, spleen, and the liver. Dense connective tissue, it has more collagen fibers and a greater resistance to stretching. This tissue could be regular or irregular. Ligaments and tendons are made up of the dense regular connective tissue. Dense regular connective tissue has a greater strength in all directions, but less strength in one particular direction. Dense regular has elastin fibers in addition to collagen fibers, which allow the ligament to return to its original length. The type of cartilage, hyaline, fibrocartilage, and elastic cartilage. Hyaline cartilage is the most common type of the cartilage in the body, consisting of short and dispersed collagen fibers. Fibrocartilage, that's the menisci in your knee joint, and the invertebral discs in your spine are examples of fibrocartilage. Elastic cartilage, this tissue gives rigid support as well as elasticity, think earlobes. Fluid connective tissue, that's your blood and lymph. These are hematopoietic stem cells located in your bone marrow. Your erythrocytes, red blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, and platelets. Some white blood cells have the ability to cross the endothelial layer. Lymph drains into blood vessels, delivering molecules to blood that could not otherwise directly enter the bloodstream. Muscle tissue. 3 main types: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Muscle tissue is characterized by properties that allow movement. These muscle cells are excitable, they respond to stimulus, and they are contractile. Muscle cells, the myocyte, these cells and their numbers remain relatively constant throughout your life. Cardiomyocyte, these are your cardiac cells. The skeletal muscle is attached to bones, and its contraction makes possible locomotion and other voluntary movements of the body. Skeletal muscles generate heat and therefore contribute to thermal homeostasis. Cardiac muscle forms the contractile walls of the heart. These are the cardiomyocytes. Smooth muscle tissue is responsible for involuntary movements in the internal organs, such as digestive, urinary, reproductive system, airways, and arteries. Nervous tissue. The nervous tissue cells, the neuron, neuralgia, astrocyte, I don't really know how to pronounce this one, the oligodendrocyte cell, and the Schwann cell. Nervous tissue is characterized as being excitable and capable of sending and receiving electrochemical signals. The cell body of a neuron, also called the soma, contains the nucleus and the mitochondria. The dendrites transfer the nerve impulses to the soma, and the axon carries the action potential away to the next excitable cell. Neurons display distinctive morphology well suited to their role as connecting cells, with three main parts: the cell body, cytoplasm and organelles, nucleus, dendrites, axon, wrapped in a insulating layer known as myelin. The synapse is a gap between nerve cells or between a nerve cell and its target. For example, a muscle or gland across which the impulse is transmitted by chemical compounds known as neurotransmitters. There's a lot more I could say on the topic, but I tried to keep it under 10 minutes, so I hope you enjoyed my overview of the tissues and their locations.